Italy is famous for many things: pizza, pasta, wine, and of course the great works of art and architecture scattered all across the country. But it is also home to one of the most unique cities in the entire world, Venice. This city is built on water, with canals replacing roads and bridges replacing buildings. Getting around requires you to take a boat, and getting lost is almost impossible since there are no roads or GPS to get you turned around. With its one-of-a-kind layout and stunning architecture, it's easy to see why Venice is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the entire world. But this begs the question, how was this city built? And more importantly, why was it built in such a strange way? The story dates back to the fall of the Roman Empire. Back then, northern Italy was a very dangerous place to live. Insecurity was rampant, and people were often killed by wandering armies, so people living in this area sought refuge in the shallow waters of the nearby lagoon. They built small homes on the water that were accessible by boat, and were protected from invaders on all sides, except for one, the mainland. This made their little lagoon city defenseless against invaders, so they built a wall around it. But because the lagoon was so shallow, they had to build the wall above the water. Over time, this wall grew into the iconic island of Venice. And over the next several centuries, Venice grew into a maritime republic that stretched all across the Mediterranean. It became extremely wealthy due to its control of the sea trade routes and would eventually become the dominant power in the region. As the city grew in wealth and size, it would continue to expand out into the lagoon, building new islands and turning Venice into the architectural marvel we know today. But that raises another question. Why didn't they just build the city on the mainland like any other city? Well, the answer is simple: necessity. The Byzantine Empire, which ruled the eastern half of the Roman Empire, controlled the land surrounding the lagoon, and the Republic of Venice was constantly at war with them. Building their city on the mainland would have left them vulnerable to attack, but building on the lagoon provided natural protection. Another reason is that the soil quality in Venice is actually quite poor. It's mostly just mud, making it unsuitable for building a city. The abundance of water, on the other hand, made it an ideal location for trade and transportation. The canals allowed the Venetians to travel throughout their city and throughout the Mediterranean. Because of this, Venice became a very important trading hub and amassed huge amounts of wealth. The water also helped protect Venice from invaders. Because the city was surrounded by water on all sides, the only way to attack it was from the mainland. This meant that the Venetian Republic could focus its defenses on the land rather than having to worry about attacks from the water. The canals also helped to keep the city cool during the hot summers. Because of the breeze from the water, Venice was much more pleasant to live in than many other Italian cities, which were often unbearably hot. In fact, life in Venice was so pleasant that many rich people from other Italian city-states would buy property in Venice just to get away from the heat. Of course, living in Venice wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Flooding was a constant problem, as was the build-up of garbage and human waste in the canals. But overall, it was a pretty nice place to live. As the centuries passed, Venice would continue to thrive. It would become known as the Queen of the Adriatic and would influence much of Europe. But as the saying goes, all good things must come to an end. The French, who had long desired Venetian territory, would eventually conquer the city and put an end to the Venetian Republic. Today, Venice is still one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world. Every year, millions of people visit this unique city to see its beautiful architecture and learn about its fascinating history.